What's
What's
going
up?
on, everybody?
Go ahead.
Hey, who hit go live? What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard Sports Media with Mayhem Matthew, the touchdown show on a Sunday night. Mayhem, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Obviously, I'm doing really good. I'm fired up to be live here with you, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hit the ground running. Today, we got with you teams that are hurt and helped by realignment, and we're going to play a little game today on this live show, and we're going to go through each conference and pretty much say what teams are hurt and what teams are helped by college football realignment on the field, product. Okay, who we think some of these teams haven't already been in the conference. So what we're going to do today is we are going to tell y'all what we think, um, if they're going to be helped or they're going to be hurt by college football realignment on the field product only. We can get into the money stuff, but I'm not that type of guy to be talking about money. I'm a football guy. I love watching football on my television every single Saturday, and I can't wait. We're less than a month away from college football. So with that being said, we're going to do on the field product only. So we're going to start out with the ACC. Is SMU helped by college football realignment on the field this upcoming year being in the ACC? I'll go first, and I'm going to say that I think this year only, I think they're going to be hurt. They're going to be in a power conference this year. They're not going to be able to play the smaller, group of 5 teams like they once did. So I think for this year, it's going to be hurt. But I think if the ACC stays alive on the field product, I think SMU will get better and better, and they will be able to thrive in the ACC, and I think they'll be helped in the long run. But as far as in 2024, I think SMU is going to be hurt by college football realignment on the field. What do you think?
So you say they're going to be hurt, and I guess I agree to an extent. I think it could go either way. I think when you look at their schedule, because the way I'm approaching this tonight is obviously on the field, like we're talking about, you got to talk about their schedule. They open with Nevada. Uh, not gonna diss them. Not gonna promote that team. I've never watched Nevada play football in my life, so I don't know what to expect from that. HCU, BYU, they're gonna open up with teams like that. They get those next two at home. Then you dive into the ACC play after, you know, playing the Horned Frogs of TCU on September 21st. They got to play Florida State at home, go to Louisville, get the bye week, go to Stanford, go to Duke, play Pitt, Boston College at Virginia, and Cal. I would say that's manageable. I don't know if it's favorable. I think Florida State's tough. I think at Louisville's tough. I think at Duke's tough. Pitt is a really, really good program, and Pat Narduzzi is a really, really good head coach. That's a homecoming game. Uh, I think that could go either way, but I would favor Pitt. So I would say for this year only, I'm going to say they're hurt by the realignment. Not that they can't go forward and up their game a little bit, the Mustangs, but I would say that schedule's really tough.
For sure. So I would agree with you, but I do think in the long run, they will be helped by college football realignment. Get some more guys, tougher guys in there, and they'll be able to thrive in a conference like the ACC. Let's talk about Stanford. Will Stanford in 2024 be helped or hurt by college football realignment on the field play? I want to know your thoughts.
What if I told you their road schedule and say it's obvious they will be hurt on the field? They open with TCU. They can probably win that game at home. They play Cal Poly, whoever that is, the Mustangs, on September 7th. They get the bye week. But then they have two straight road games. They got to go to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, and then they got to go to Memorial Stadium in Clemson, right? Then they play Virginia Tech at home, but then they got to go to Notre Dame. Now, we've seen them play at Notre Dame many, many times. Then they play SMU. They play Wake Forest. They get NC State on the road. Then their last three Louisville, at Cal, and at San Jose State. I think you kind of get a breather and a break in there late in the year. But that road schedule, man, Syracuse, Clemson, Notre Dame, NC State, that's going to be tough. And Stanford's not in the best of positions right now. Not that they can improve and come up in the ranks and maybe work their way up in the ACC. But I think they are hurt for this year in 2024.
Um, I would love to disagree with you here, but I think I'm going to agree with you on this. I think Stanford is going to be hurt this year. I kind of have the same stance that I have with SMU. I think Stanford will eventually thrive in the ACC if it survives, which, I really hope it does because, I want as many power conferences as possible to stay alive. But um, anyways, yeah, I think for this year, Stanford's going to hurt a little bit. Hopefully, they can, do better than they did last year. Can't do much worse than they did last year. But as far as being able to compete, I do think Stanford will be able to compete a little bit more. I don't know if that's really going to do a lot as far as wins and losses, but I do think Stanford is going to be able to compete with teams in the ACC as far as their schedule goes. But yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. Stanford is going to be hurt in 2024. Let's move on to Cal. That's the final one in the ACC. Will Cal be helped or hurt by college football realignment in 2024 on the field? I'm gonna go first. Um, I'm gonna shock you, Ballard.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say they're gonna be helped. Cal's gonna be helped.
Yes.
I really
I
do.
gotta hear your stance, but I really think it's gonna help them in the long run. But let me hear you out first.
The reason why I say that is because Cal, I mean, in the Pac-12, I mean, we all know that last year the Pac-12 was the best conference by team wise. They had Oregon, UCLA, USC, Washington. They had Oregon State. They had Washington State. They had Arizona that was really good. They had Utah. I can keep on going down the list. They had a string of teams that were amazing. Okay, they had Washington that was in the national championship game. Yes, they didn't win, but they were in the national championship game. Facing up against the eventual national champion, Michigan, and they represented that conference really well. I think as far as top to bottom goes, I think the Pac-12 was the best conference last year, and they've always had a solid conference to begin with. But yeah, Cal has always been the low man on the totem pole, and the ACC. Uh, you know, whenever I look at the landscape of the ACC, I think there are a couple teams At the top, the ones that come to mind are Miami, Florida State, um, Clemson. Them are the three that come to mind. Cal, is going to be able to uh, immediately, uh, be able to compete with teams like SMU, Duke, NC State, and them type of teams. So that is why I think Cal's going to be helped in 2024. But I'm not saying that they're going to have a great record. I'm not saying that, but I do think, on the field, I think they're going to be helped. Um, maybe they can, win more games than they did last year, is what I'm trying to say. What do you think?
Mm, I think it makes sense that they could. So you're saying they'll be helped, right? Is that what I
Yes.
heard correctly?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's getting tougher. I would say hurt, but um, I guess I guess I could see your point though. I mean, they do get like the home games: Oregon State, Syracuse, Stanford, Miami. I would be careful about that one. San Diego State. Outside of that Miami game, oh, UC Davis to open the season too. Outside of those, outside of that Miami game, that I just named you pretty good, winnable, manageable home games that they could be helped with to get some victories on the field. On the road, Auburn, Florida State, Pitt, SMU, Wake Forest as well. That's going to be tough, but I think momentum is going to swing big in California's direction with college football and the Golden Bears this year. I do think that as a whole, as a program, I'm not in favor of California being very good. I mean, I'd like to see it, obviously. When I say in favor, I mean, I don't, they don't stand out to me. However, I do think that they've had a little bit of success in recent years, even though it has looked bad on the field. I mean, this is a team that went 6-7 last year and lost their bowl game. So, um, they're probably going to be helped out a little bit, taking a step down in competition. It might improve them to a couple more victories. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I yeah, it's gotta help 'em. They went 6-7 last year, right? So, like, and they lost their bowl. They go to a lesser conference in the ACC, and I mean that with no disrespect, but come on, the schedule's gotta be easier, right, Mayhem?
Well, I'm looking at the schedule now. They start out with UC Davis. They're going to win that game. They go at Auburn. Remember, I know that they were at home last year, and they have to go to Jordan Hare, so that is going to be a little bit tougher. But don't let's not forget that Cal had that game won. There
14-10 was the score.
let's not forget that. Okay, so
Yeah.
I know it's at Jordan Hare, and but the thing that they got on their side is it's early in the season. You can catch Auburn snapping at Jordan Hare. It's a 3:30 game. You can catch them napping early, and but if Auburn is it's not a night game, but if Auburn is alive for that game, obviously Auburn's. I believe Auburn's going to win anyways, but let's just not forget that Cal almost beat them last year. Okay, let's not forget that. Um, you got San Diego State. They're going to win that game. You go on the road to Florida State. Okay, you take your L. You got a bye week. That's going to help, for that Miami game. You got them at home. Okay, Miami's not going to be no slouch team, but you do got them at home right after having a bye week. So that is in favor of you. Then you have to go on the road at Pitt. That's a winnable game. at Pitt is totally a winnable game. Got NC State at home favored. That's you're going to be that's in favor of you to be at home. Going against NC State. Yeah, NC State's a pretty solid team. But that's also a winnable game. You're at home again versus Oregon State. Um, you should know Oregon State really well. You faced them many times. I don't think you're going to win, but like I said before, you have them at home. Got another bye week to get ready for Wake Forest. Wake Forest doesn't have a Jamie Newman. Wake Forest does not have a Sam Hartman. Wake Forest is not going to be that top tier team that we've seen in the past few seasons with these great quarterbacks. I don't think Wake Forest is going to be as good as they were in the past couple of years. So, this is not going to be the same Wake Forest team that was in the ACC title game a couple years ago versus Pitt. We're not going to see that same Wake Forest team. So, I think that is definitely a winnable game. You got Syracuse at home. You got Stanford at home. I mean, all these home games back to back are winnable games. You got Syracuse with a brand new head coach. Stanford, you're familiar with them. Should be able to take care of business there. Then you go on the road at SMU. Might struggle there, but they're coming from the Group of Five into a Power Four conference. This schedule, other than whenever I look at this schedule, the only for sure losses are Auburn, Florida State. I'm gonna go ahead and put Miami on there, but I wouldn't count that as for sure. And that's about it. All these games are winnable, outside of maybe Florida State, Auburn, Miami. They can easily go 8-4 with the schedule. Easy. Yes. It's going
Okay.
Cal will be helped. Cal will totally be helped on the field in 2024. Let's go to the Big Ten. Got 4 new football teams in the Big Ten. You got Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Washington. The Big Ten is the second best conference. Yep, you already know who the best is. But let's start with Oregon. Whenever I look at Oregon, will it help or hurt Oregon being in the Big Ten? Being in the Big Ten in 2024 on the field. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to be in the middle. I'm going to say it does not hurt or it does not help Oregon. Oregon is a powerhouse.
That's
Oregon
yeah.
is a powerhouse. Oregon is a powerhouse. They are going to be ready. If they were back in the Pac-12, I would say that Oregon probably win that too. So Oregon is going to be ready for the Big Ten. Oregon is going to catch a lot of these Big Ten teams by surprise. Their head coach is extremely, he is extremely an extremely great head coach. Dan Lanning there at Oregon. He's extremely dedicated to the craft, and he's got some extremely talented 5 stars all over the field. Oregon will not trick. Oregon will not be surprised. Okay, Oregon is going to surprise a lot of Big Ten teams. Oregon will be on the top of the Big Ten, and I expect that. Dan Lanning is a defensive-minded coach. He's been in the SEC. He's been in the Pac-12. He's going to the Big Ten. Defenses win championships. He's going to have an extremely amazing offense, amazing defense. I am actually really high on Oregon. So whenever I think, has it helped them or hurt them, I'm going to be right in the middle. I'm gonna say it has not helped them, but it has not hurt them either. They are going to be contenders year one in the Big Ten, and I'm confident in that.
I'm gonna say it helps because of strength of schedule, and here's what I'll get at. I think Dan Lanning's a great coach. I think bringing in who's the quarterback? Dylan Gabriel, bringing guys into the portal, replacing Bo Nix. It'd be a little bit of a challenge, but I think they'll be ready. I look at Oregon and I say Idaho, Boise State to open things up. You get the what's it called? The Civil War with Oregon State. Those should be 3, I don't wanna say 3 easy wins, those first 2 definitely. Oregon State, kind of a coin flip because Oregon State's pretty good too, even though Jonathan Smith now at Michigan State. They get the bye week. UCLA, Michigan State, Ohio State. Look, dude, they should run through this no problem. They gotta go to Ann Arbor, right? They host the Buckeyes. They host the Huskies at the end of the year. Jed Fish in year 1 with them as Kalen DeBoer's gone. The road schedule is tough, but I think it's manageable. You get Michigan to open November on the road. You gotta go to Wisconsin. You gotta go to the Rose Bowl. Been out there a few times, and you gotta go to Oregon State. You can't sit there and say that's a tough stretch, right? And it's not but when I say stretch, like, when you look at the road games, it's not bad. Plus the home field advantage when you're hosting teams like Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan State, Boise State, Maryland. I could go down the list, dude. I think it's gonna help them because I think they're in a tougher conference, but I think that they're gonna be set up for good success, if that makes any sense.
For sure. Yeah. UCLA. Um, you know, I think so UCLA comes to the Big Ten. Will UCLA be helped or hurt by college football realignment in 2024 on the field product? And my guess is I think UCLA will be hurt. They lost their head coach Chip Kelly to and, and Ohio State. You lose Dante Moore, your starting quarterback, to Oregon. He would rather be a second string quarterback for Oregon than play for UCLA. You got competition that we're going to talk about later in USC and Washington. Also, we already talked about Oregon. Yeah, you're familiar with them, but you didn't do too well with them in previous years, and you're kind of second fiddle to them teams. Also, with that being said, you have Michigan, and you have Ohio State, and you got Penn State, and you got Wisconsin. That's not going to be a pushover. Yes, UCLA will immediately be hurt by college football realignment on the field in 2024. What's your thoughts?
Fully agree. They also have to play LSU on the road. They host Oregon. They go to Penn State. Lost their head coach to Ohio State, like you mentioned, in Chip Kelly. Uh, it's just gonna be a complete rebuild. Not that they can't overcome it in years down the road. They look better. I mean, I'm not gonna put them under the bus too long, but this first year in the Big Ten, complete downfall for UCLA. It's gonna hurt them.
For sure. USC, Southern Cal. Um, this might shock some people, but I think in 2024 on the field product, I think that USC will be hurt by college football realignment um, because they don't know how to play defense. I am not on the Southern Cal train whenever it comes to being back, right? They had one good, really good season where they went what 10-2, or something like that, or maybe they went. Yeah, I think they went 10-2, and where they lost to I can't remember. I think they either went 11-2, or they had a really good season, right? And
Yeah.
then they last year they didn't even make a bowl game. Their defense
Okay.
has to show me something. Their defense has to improve um, a great amount, and I don't think that uh, in year one in the Big Ten is going to be enough defense to really make them helped by college football realignment. So yeah, they might have amazing offense. Remember, they lose Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Caleb Williams. So they got to find who's going to be the next man up. They probably already found him, but he's not going to be no Caleb Williams. Um, USC is oof. USC is going to be hurt in 2024 by college football realignment. Washington is going to have a better defense. UCLA is going to have a better. I don't know. UCLA and USC is kind of in the same boat, and they might be better than UCLA. Oregon is going to be years above USC. Yeah, USC is going to be hurt tremendously going to the Big Ten. Learn how to play defense, and then we'll have a different conversation.
Did you seriously, and I'm not trying to be mean, but did you say something about USC not making a bowl last year?
They did not.
They did.
They did?
They played Louisville and won 42-28 in the Holiday Bowl. They almost didn't make it, but they actually went 7-5 with a bowl win to go 8-5. Look it
Well,
up.
yeah. So I'm gonna be honest.
Now, to your credit, they drastically underperformed.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
basically they sucked, and
they suck. Yeah.
my apologies. Actually, no, no, no apologies. You shouldn't have made a bowl game. Okay, I don't care. 7-5 is mediocre. Screw that. I am not apologizing for being wrong on that.
I
Southern Cal
think
should have won.
here's
Southern Cal should have won 8, 9, 10, 11 games last year. Y'all are dookie, and y'all gonna be dookie again this year. No, I'm not apologizing for being wrong.
I love it. I freaking love it. Okay, here's what I'll say about USC. Help or hurt in the Big Ten 2024. They opened things up in Vegas with the LSU Tigers. Uh, I don't know what to make of that game yet. I would favor LSU, and I would probably take them to win. Utah State win.
Wait,
After
what?
losing to the Tiger. Well, hold on. So I'm looking at their schedule. I would take LSU to win
Okay, okay. I
over.
was about to say.
Yeah, no. I was talking about LSU, and I know I could have clarified. I would take LSU to beat USC week one, and then USC they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna beat Utah State, but they're just not gonna beat defense. I promise you. Utah State's pretty good too. Get the bye week. At the Big House, Michigan, that's a loss. Wisconsin, that that's a toss-up game, but I like Wisconsin this year. I really do. So I'm gonna give them 3 losses within the first 4 games. How bad is that?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. I got the list pulled up here. They're gonna lose
Yeah.
to LSU. They'll
Uh-huh.
beat Utah. They're gonna lose to Michigan. I think I'm gonna say since they're gonna be at home, I'm gonna give them the win over Wisconsin, but that's gonna be a toss up game, like you said. I agree with you. They got to go at Minnesota. That's going to be a loss. They got to face
Loss,
Penn State. That's a loss.
loss.
Um, they got to go at
At
Maryland.
Maryland.
I'll give them the win over Maryland. Okay, they
I'll
don't
give
have.
them. I will give them the wins over Maryland and Rutgers, and then
Yeah,
it gets a little tricky.
and then I'll give them loss at Washington. I'll give them the win at Nebraska. I'll give them the loss at UCLA this year. It's going to be at the Rose Bowl.
Notre
UCLA is
Dame's
going to be
beating them at home.
so. I got them at best 7-5 again. At worst 5-7. So I'll go six and
Let me
six.
let me run this up on the screen here, and I'm gonna go through game by game, and I'm just gonna rapid fire these for you. Okay.
All right.
All right. LSU. It's it's tough. I don't know. My gut says they could get that done. I'm gonna say they beat LSU, but keep it close, and that's kind of a coin flip right now because both teams have question marks, right? So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say they win week one. Utah State win. Michigan in the Big House loss. Wisconsin. Wisconsin's pretty good. You do get them at home. I like Wisconsin this year though. Loss. Minnesota on the road. Uh, probably a win. I got them what 3 losses right now or two.
Yeah, two.
Two back to back here. Penn State. I know it's at home. Penn State does struggle on the road, but I like Penn State this year. Give them their third loss at Maryland. Mm, Talia is gone,
Yes.
I guess.
He got
Mike
denied.
Locksley. Yeah. I think they'll beat Maryland and Rutgers. Washington, you're used to them. That is on the road. That's a loss. Nebraska win. UCLA. I guess I peg them around what they were last year. I got them 7-5 because I'm going to give them a loss to Notre Dame at the end of the year.
7-5. I got them 6-6. The only
Okay.
thing we the only
What's the
thing
one
we
we go ahead?
the only thing we disagree on is the LSU one.
I got you.
I actually I'm not trying to spoil anything for my channel because I actually have my predictions going up this coming week. I have all the videos. I just got to upload them. I actually have LSU doing extremely good this year.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that wraps up Southern Cal. Get better on defense, and then I'll be able to have faith in you. You're going to be hurt by college football realignment. Let's go to Washington. I do think Washington is going to be hurt next year in 2024 on the field. Because they lose their head coach, they lose their starting quarterback to the NFL. They lose a lot of players. Yeah, they do gain some. They gain Mississippi State's quarterback, Will Rogers, but they gain Jeb Fish, that was Arizona's head coach last season. So they're going to be in pretty good hands as far as that. But year one in the Big Ten, obviously, if you lose just one game, you're going to be hurt from the year prior because, well, they went, 13-0, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, yeah, they're going to be hurt. They're not going to be the same team they were last year. Transfer portal, your players going off to the NFL. I think Washington had 7 or 8 players going to the NFL last year, and you got a bunch of portal guys that hit the transfer portal. whenever your Kalen DeBoer went to Alabama. So of course Washington's going to be tremendously hurt. I still think they're going to be pretty good, but they're not going to be what they were in previous years. They're definitely going to be hurt by this.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think they lose their coach, they up the competition, they lost Michael Penix and Roma Dunze and company. They got a lot of pieces to replace. I think they're going to be hurt. I do think Jetfish is on the right track though, and recruiting and everything. I just think that it's going to take some time to get it back to what it was. I see them as like TCU, but I don't see them going as bad as TCU did after they lost that title game. You know what I'm saying? That,
Yep.
but they're gonna have a lot of pieces to replace.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, did you want to do the football schedule?
We don't have to go by game if you don't want to, but I just figured. I mean, at Penn State, I see on the schedule that highlights it. They do host Michigan in a championship rematch. They go to Iowa. I think those are 3 losses right there. Uh, the Apple Cup, I think they beat Washington State, at Oregon late in the year on Thanksgiving weekend, that's a loss. I would say at most they're 8-4. What do you think?
Um, Let me see. Go to the start. Is that the start?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they start
Let
off
me up. They start with Weber State and East Michigan.
one, two, three, 4, 5. They'll be 5-0 before they lose to Michigan, and
Mhm.
then they'll probably lose to Iowa. I'll give them the L there. They'll rebound, win Indiana to get their bowl eligibility. They'll beat USC. They'll lose to Penn State. So 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8-4. You got it right on the money. Yeah, 8-4 for
And I
Washington.
think we agree on the losses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you about Washington. 8-4 is what they'll do, which is going to be hurt by what they did last year. Obviously, going to take 4 losses versus only taking one in the national championship game. Yes, they're going to have better competition, and they lose a lot of players, lose their head coach to Ala freaking Bama. So yeah, they're going to be hurt. Let's go to the Big 12. We're gonna rapid fire these next 4 because they already been in the Big 12 for 1 year. We're just gonna say were they hurt or helped in 2023, and what do you think they're going to be in 2024? BYU, obviously they were hurt. Having a terrible schedule, and they lost a lot of games. So yeah, BYU was hurt in 2024. I think BYU will still be hurt. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, historically good program, not cut out for Power 5, Power 4, whatever. They've had success with it before, but I think when you give them a full-on slate, uh, it's not very good. So I think they're going to be hurt going forward this next year.
All right, Cincinnati. They were in the college football playoffs just a couple of years ago. They came into the Big 12 and did not ever sniff the possibility of any titles. They were not that great. Brand new head coach. I think they will be helped this year. Last year, they were hurt tremendously, but coming into 2024, I think Cincinnati will be helped in 2024. What's your thoughts?
3-9 last year, 1-8 in conference play. This year, uh, think they take some steps forward. I think 3 wins is not nearly enough that they need. They do have some tough road games, but I think at home, outside of maybe West Virginia and TCU late in the year, I think teams like Arizona State could be okay. Houston, Pitt, and Townsend. Well, I say Pitt. I don't know about Pitt there on September 7th, but they have about 3 or 4 home games that could help them boost their record a little bit. Plus the road slate, they gotta pick one of those up, right? I mean, Cincinnati's not terrible. I'm sure they miss Luke Fickell, but I think that, who's that coach? Satterfield? Is it Scott Satterfield, I think? Um, he's doing okay. I thought that he wasn't the best at Louisville, but I think he's a good head coach, especially on offense, and I think that he could do some big things and bring it to the table for Cincinnati in 2024.
For sure. Houston. Houston didn't do as bad as Cincinnati, not to my memory. But Houston, um, oddly enough, obviously last year they were hurt by realignment on the field. Coming into 2024, I think Houston will be helped by realignment in 2024. Um, I like what uh, what's his name again? The one that was at West Virginia. Now he's at Houston.
Holgerson,
Yeah, I think he's doing really
Dana
good.
Holgerson. Yeah,
Dana Holgerson, I think he's doing really good things at Houston. I think he's making adjustments. Being in the Big 12 now, I think he's going to have more success than he did last year. So, being in the Big 12, I think helped Houston.
think about this. They almost beat Texas last year. They had a double overtime game against Rice that they lost. They had lost, let's see, what other close games? They had some blowouts too, but they had a couple close games, and they had some close wins. If Houston wants to take that step forward, open invitation to do so this year. They open with UNLV. They do go to Oklahoma. They play Rice, Cincinnati, Iowa State. Could go down the list of the schedule. I think they take some steps forward. I think they're a little bit better, and I think it will help them in 2024.
I agree with you. UCF.
That's
Last season, I think it hurt UCF, but I have the same stance. I think UCF will be helped in 2024. I really do believe that. Uh, why am I losing track? The Gus bus, Gus Malzahn there at UCF understands what it takes to be in the Power Four. Used to be Power Five, but yeah, he knows what it is to win games in the Big 12 now. Yeah, they didn't perform like they thought they were last year, but this year they're going to take some steps forward. Um, and I think they're going to be better than they were last year. UCF is going to be helped by college football realignment on the field in 2024.
I agree. Uh, and I think the key games you open with New Hampshire and Sam Houston; those are dubs. At TCU could be tricky. Colorado, we'll see what the Buffs look like. I'm pretty high on them improving a little bit this year. Um, at Florida's interesting on October 5th. Circle that game. If they could go on the road in the SEC and handle that, I don't care what you say about Florida and Billy Napier. That's a tough environment in the swamp, and if they can pull off an upset, that's gonna boost their record, and it's it's gonna draw some attention, I think, in October.
For
So,
sure.
I think for year 2 in the Big 12, I think they're gonna be helped a little bit. I really do.
For sure. I agree with you 100%. Let's move on to teams that are brand new in the Big 12. Um, we rapid fired them four teams, but let's move on to new teams in the Big 12 and how we think they are going to do. Um, are they going to be helped or hurt on the field in 2024 by college football realignment? We got Utah. Utah is one team that I say is not hurt or helped. Actually, I'm gonna say helped. I'm gonna say helped. Utah is going to win the Big 12. Um, I don't know what to tell you. There is no team at all that can compete with Utah in the Big 12. Utah is going to win the Big 12. You can go ahead and call them Big 12 champs. Um, Utah is winning the Big 12, and they were back-to-back Pac-12 champions. Whenever you had teams like Oregon, UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon State, Washington State, and so on and so forth. You had them going back to back in the Pac 12. Yeah, they did not win last year, the Pac 12, but you had Washington that was in the national championship game. Washington was tremendous. You had Oregon that was amazing too. So you don't have them in the Big 12 this coming year. Yes, Utah will be helped. Utah will win the Big 12. It's not up for debate. Utah is going to win the Big 12. If you have any money to put on it, go ahead and do that. I'm not a betting man, but and I don't really support the gambling thing. But if that's what you do, go ahead and put all your money on Utah winning the Big 12 because it's happening 1,000%. Okay, so yes, Utah brings back Cam Rising and company. Their head coach is one of the best in the Big 12 right now. He's, I mean, we talked about this. I think it was like last week or the week before. Uh, Utah's head coach is on a retirement tour. Utah's trying to give the head coach one last hoorah and get that Big 12 title, baby, and it's going to happen this year. Mark my words.
I agree. I think they're going to be helped by it, but only because they have the pieces. They have the tools on offense. I think they got talent on defense. I think Whittingham's a really good mind as a head coach to take care of business in the Big 12. In an offensive league, you're bringing in an offensive team like Utah. I think they're going to be helped.
For sure. Arizona, brand new head coach comes into town. Um, can't remember the head coach's name, but doesn't matter for this segment because I think Arizona will be helped. I don't think they have as near as much as competition as what they did last year, and they did really good last year. They bring back their quarterback from last year that was a freshman, right? And he comes back for Arizona. He did not leave whenever his coach left. He stayed at Arizona. Um, what's his name again?
I don't. Are you talking about the quarterback?
For Arizona, yeah.
Noah Fafita.
Noah Fafita. Guys, remember that name. I'm gonna have to remember that name too because that guy is going to cause some chaos in the Big 12. In year one, Arizona is going to be a really good team. I think going to the Big 12 helps them. On the field uh, with college football realignment in 2024. I think Arizona is going to be a great team. What do you think?
I think so. I think that they I don't think they take steps forward, but I don't think they take steps back necessarily. I think they kinda stay the same. I think they'll be helped with the better competition. They open with New Mexico and then Northern Arizona to start the year, and then they gotta go to Kansas State. They get the bye week, they play Utah, but down the road, Colorado, West Virginia at home, plus Houston and Arizona State at home to end the year, I think it sets up pretty nicely. I think they're gonna be helped.
For sure. Let's go to Arizona State. They got brand new conference and they got a brand new head coach in Mr. Kenny Dillingham. They fired their head coach last year on the field. Oddly enough, and Arizona hires Kenny Dillingham as the head coach. Arizona State. Yeah, they're coming into the Big 12. Um, Kenny Dillingham was under Dan Lanning at Oregon there as offense coordinator. I also think he did a stint at Auburn a few years ago as well. I think he's pretty good offensive mind. Don't know how he is as a head coach. I don't think he's ever been a head coach, especially of this magnitude. In the Power Four. So we'll see what he does this year. I think Arizona State will be helped, oddly enough, with all the new pieces coming into town with Arizona State. You don't have as much competition as you did in the Pac 12. You still got some competition that are better than you. I'm not saying that you're going to be like great or anything like that, but you should do better than they did last year. So I'll say Arizona State will be
Yeah.
helped. I'll say Arizona State will be helped by conference realignment on the field in 2024. That's what I predict.
I agree. I think open up with Wyoming and Mississippi State. Those are tough teams, at least for Arizona State to play. But I think both of those games being at home could be wins, and I think it could boost you a little bit as you go take Texas State on the road and then Texas Tech on the road. Texas Tech might be your first loss, but then you get teams like Kansas, Utah, UCF at home, BYU at home. You might find losses like I think Utah's an obvious loss, but like Kansas and BYU and teams like that, maybe some momentum at home in your home environment that might help you out a bit.
For sure. And last but not least, in the Big 12, this was the biggest conference that made a lot of adjustments and stuff like that. And after we get done with this, I do want to ask you your thoughts on something. So Colorado, will Colorado be hurt or helped um, on the field play by college football realignment in 2024? And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't think Colorado is going to be good. I don't think. Listen, this is the touchdown show where we make bold takes and stuff like this, and I know y'all probably heard this before on other on other YouTube channels and stuff. But I also agree with the take, and I'm going to say it here. Colorado's Deion Sanders will not be the head coach of Colorado in 2025. This is the last year of the Deion um, train or hype train or whatever at Colorado. And you can go ahead and book that however you want to. Deion Sanders is a winner. The program of Colorado is not a winning program. Okay. So you can go ahead and book that Deion Sanders will not be the head coach of Colorado in 2025. You can staple it to your forehead. I don't really care. Um, Colorado is not a winning program. Deion Sanders is is somebody that wants to win, and he's always been a winner. So whenever I look at Colorado and I look at Deion Sanders, they're not a perfect fit for each other. You know, whenever his whenever his whenever his sons leave for the NFL, you can go ahead and say Deion Sanders is leaving too. So with that being said, Colorado will be helped in 2024, but when we have this conversation next year, I won't be saying that. So as far as Colorado goes, yeah, they're going to be helped. I think they play um, in a lesser conference, and I know that's crazy saying that since the Pac-12 is gone, but the Pac-12 was, I mean, come on, man, they had some heavy hitters last year, and I've already named them twice now. If you don't know, you just won't know. But Colorado is going to be able to compete with this Big 12 coming in, and I think they're going to be helped. What's your thoughts?
I would say I think they'll be helped. I think they get better. Now, I don't know if I agree with you. Dude, you sure Dion's gonna leave Colorado after this season, you think? No matter
Yes,
what happens?
100%.
Okay.
Colorado's not making a bowl game this year. Let's take a
Yeah,
look
I
at
have no problems
Let's take a
at
look at
both.
Colorado's football schedule. Let's take a look at them real quick. I'm gonna give you my thoughts right now. All right, North Dakota State, they'll beat them. They're gonna lose to the Cornhuskers. I know they beat the Cornhuskers last year, but they were playing. Pretty sure they were playing at Colorado. They're coming to Nebraska. Matt Rule is gonna be better. They're gonna take an L right there. Um, They almost lost to Colorado State last year. Wouldn't be surprised if they took an L there. That's a toss-up game, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go ahead and say they win that one. Baylor's gonna beat them. UCF is gonna beat them. So that's one, two, three losses already. Kansas State's gonna wipe the floor with them. That's four losses. Arizona State's gonna beat them. That's five losses. Cincinnati's gonna beat them. That's six losses. Bye week, Texas Tech is going to beat you. That's seven losses. Utah's going to beat them. That's eight losses. Kansas is going to beat them. That's nine losses. Oof. And Oklahoma State's going to beat them. That's 10 losses. But
2 and
let's just
10.
let's hold on. Let me think. Ah, let's just say I'm crazy about
Pass that
maybe.
bomb.
I'm gonna give them Baylor. I'll give them Baylor. So that's nine.
Oh,
What 4-8 season incoming? Maybe
I'll take a hit of that
that.
bomb.
I mean, they're not making a bowl game. No way. I don't see it.
Yeah, but they gotta win at least 5 of those games and come up shy, right?
I think the ceiling is five wins. That's the ceiling. They're not making a bowl game. I mean, the ceiling for this team, they'll be lucky to get. They'll be lucky to get if they make a bowl game. Then I might think, okay, maybe Dion stays one more year to, you know, shut up the haters and everything like that, like me. I'm not even a Deion Sanders hater. I'm not even hating on Deion Sanders. Actually, I'm just saying that Deion Sanders is a winner, and he's not going to be at a program long like Colorado that is a losing program. Is not a good football program. I don't even know why he went to Colorado in the first place. Maybe that's the only team that would offer him a Power Five um, head coaching job, and he just took it. Maybe he should have waited uh, a couple more years. But yeah, man, I don't see them making a bowl game. They're hyping up. in the college football video game, they're hyping up Colorado like they're going to be some type of world beater in the Big 12. But that's why it's called a video game, because it's not real. So, um, yeah, Colorado is not going to make a bowl game, man. 5 wins, that's about it for them.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Let's move on to the SEC of Texas. Is Tech Will Texas be hurt or helped by college football realignment in 2024 on the field play? And I'm going to say they are going to be neither. I'm going to say they're not going to be helped or hurt, because they are going to be a contender in the SEC in year one. They were a contender last year in the Big 12. They won the Big 12. They went to the playoffs. So yeah, they're not going to be hurt or helped. They're going to be just fine in the SEC. As far as competition goes, I'll say yeah. Texas is going to be hurt as far as the competition on a week to week basis, because they didn't really have that much competition in the Big 12. But Texas is an elite team. They finally made me a believer in them. Last year, I was a Texas hater. This year, they showed me that they can make the college football playoff. Steve Sarkisian showed me that he's able to be elite with Texas, and he knows how to coach games. The only really two tough games that Texas has this season is Michigan and Georgia. And you'll see my thoughts on that Georgia Texas game whenever it comes out next week. But yeah, I think Texas is going to be fine. I think Texas will be in the SEC championship. I think Texas could possibly still make the college football playoff again with the 12 team. Texas is going to be really good. Their schedule favors them highly. I mean, this is probably the perfect schedule that they could have gave Texas. So they didn't give Texas, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Auburn. They didn't give them teams. They gave them the bottom feeders of the SEC. So yeah, I think Texas is going to be helped in year one, as far as that goes. But as far as overall, I think they're going to be a contender once again. Um, you know, this time in the SEC, so they're not going to be hurt or helped in 2024.
I think Sarkeesian knows what he's getting into in the SEC, being based on his time in Alabama. He knows the competition. You saw it last year, and you could say whatever you want to about, well, Alabama wasn't up to par yet. But come on, dude. They went to Tuscaloosa and they won by 10. Not a lot of teams can say they've done that. Texas is going to be fine. They're going to be good. Improved? I think so. I think they dipped into the portal enough. Um, so yeah, I think they'll be helped by it because I think they're hungry for a challenge.
Right. You said something interesting. You said that you said that Texas beat Alabama by 10 points, and not a lot of teams have done that. Um, I know a team that's done that too.
I
Actually,
meant
more.
in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, in Tuscaloosa. Okay, I'll give it to you. But yeah, 33-18 um, crosses my mind whenever we talk about beating Alabama by more than 10 points. But
Yeah.
yeah, and also there's a team on your schedule at Alabama. There's a team on Alabama's schedule. I forget who it is, but they come to
Oklahoma?
They come to Tuscaloosa this year, and they're
Oh,
also going.
Auburn.
They're also no, not Auburn. They're also going to beat Bama by more than 10 points this upcoming season.
Oh, nobody.
It's a team that wears the red and black.
We need to time you out, Mayhem. You done?
Go dogs. But anyways,
You're unmuted.
I said go dogs. We'll see what happens. I just had to get a little laugh there. Um,
Yeah,
let's move on to Oklahoma. Oklahoma will be hurt by conference realignment on the field in 2024. That's what I believe. Oklahoma will be a really good team, but they got better competition, man. They'll be hurt. I feel like I feel like
yeah.
Oklahoma. I feel like Oklahoma got the short end of the stick whenever it comes to scheduling. Oklahoma definitely has a tougher schedule than Texas coming into the SEC. Um, if Oklahoma had Texas' schedule, then maybe we'll be talking about Oklahoma being helped. But SEC didn't help Oklahoma a whole lot. They gave them a pretty tough schedule.
They host Tennessee, who's going to be really good. They go to Jordan Hare the week after, and Jordan Hare, in my opinion, is a cursed field. I think very few teams make it out of there alive. Alabama was fortunate this past year, Georgia the last few years, but Auburn's pretty good at home. I don't think Oklahoma can handle that game, and I think they're going to be hurt by it. Not in the long run. Again, talking about long term, maybe they'd be okay. I think Brent Venables is doing a good job as a head coach, but put your big boy pants on and play the SEC. Try that in a small town, right?
For sure. Um, and let's just talk about these two real quick. We're about to wrap up the show here. Oregon State and Washington State, let's kind of bundle them together. They're going to be hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we can both agree on that. We don't have to waste really any time with Oregon State and Washington State. Obviously, they're going to be hurt, especially by the college football playoff. They're not in one of the power conferences. Yeah, they're in the Pac-12, but them are the only two in the Pac-12. They're going to be playing Mountain West teams, which I think eventually the Mountain West is going to merge with the Pac-12 anyways. So they're pretty much relegated to the group of five, which, sucks for them. But yeah, they're going to be hurt tremendously. Hopefully they can find a conference to be in, and then maybe they'll be helped. But as far as win loss record, yeah, they're going to be helped, of course. Win loss record, um, Oregon State could wipe the floor with all them Mountain West teams. Of course, they'll win all of them.
And
Washington State, yeah, that they'll. I mean, yeah, they'll be in the mix to winning 8, 9, 10 games this year, of course. But as far as getting to where they ultimately want to be, and that's in that conversation for the college football playoff, it will hurt them a lot.
I think they have to go. They got to play the Notre Dame card if they want to make the playoff. They got to go undefeated and win out, no losses. And I know
Yeah,
that might sound harsh. I know it might sound crazy, but think about it, man. They're basically independent right now, being the only two teams on the West Coast, and you know,
yeah,
just it's gonna hurt.
definitely gonna hurt. Um, But that's it for the helped and hurt by realignment live stream the touchdown show every single week that we could do it. We try to do it as many times as we can to get shows out for y'all. That's going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, smash the thumbs up. We're live on Mayhem Matthew and Ballard, Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media channel. So hit the thumbs up on both channels. It only takes 5 seconds to do that. And if you really like the content, hit the subscribe button on both of our channels. Okay. That
Yes,
will
sir.
be much appreciated, and it's completely free. We're not asking you to make a donation or anything like that. We're just asking you to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and both of them are FREE. That spells free. Okay. Anyways, yep. My last words is thank y'all for watching, and go dogs.
Love you guys. Appreciate you. Mayhem, love doing the show with you, man. And y'all subscribe to this guy for sure. Subscribe to me too if you're new. Roll Tide. We'll see you.